Now, for our first performer for this evening is junior Carissa Johnson. Carissa, a second-year forensics student, has attended festival this year and got a 1 rating, and she was on her humorous solo, which she will be performing for you.
Have you ever eaten something so disgusting it crunches around in your throat and you know it's not supposed to be there, but it is? This is peanut butter spider sandwich by Peg Care. When I went to Girl Scout camp, I carried along a few survival things: peanut butter, crackers, and the occasional Hershey's bar, just in case they served liver for lunch. Now, our bathroom was down a trail, through some trees, a big wooden building with a distinct odor. But I didn't really mind the odor. What I did mind was the spiders that lived there. Don't get me wrong. Our camp counselors, they sprayed with bug bombs, but either the spiders were so hardy that they survived the spray, or there was an endless amount of spiders, and when we killed one off, another one simply just moved in to take its place. I suspected there was a whole waiting list of spiders just waiting to live in that outhouse. I mean, I put off going to the bathroom. When I couldn't wait any longer, I would dash down the trail, rush inside, and stand perfectly still, surveying every inch. Walls, ceiling, and floor. I had to locate the spiders. I had to make sure they didn't crawl up my leg when I wasn't looking. There's this girl. Her name's Angela. She tells us that her father will send her any amount of money anytime she wants it, and she doesn't even have to give him a reason for wanting it. The only thing good about Angela is her purple jacket. Her purple jacket is the most beautiful purple jacket I've ever seen. And Angela asked me if she wanted to bet on the whole money situation. And I told Angela, of course I did. I mean, why would your father send you any amount of money anytime you want without giving me a reason for wanting it? I told Angela I definitely wanted to bet. I said if Angela's father didn't send her $100, then she has to give me her purple jacket. Angela's eyes narrowed. Okay, but if he does send me some, then you have to eat one of the spiders out of the bathroom. I hesitated. There was no way I could eat one of those spiders. Not even for Angela's purple jacket. But on the other hand, I mean, I was positive that, she wouldn't get the money from her father. Okay. So I agreed. I put my hand on my heart, and I bowed in Scout's honor. I looked around the campfire. There was a circle of wide-eyed witnesses witnessing my vow. The next day, Angela called her father. 6 kids listened in on it just to make sure she didn't give him any reason for wanting the money. 1 day later, Angela received the money. She waved it under my nose. In the other hand, she clutched a plastic bag with a big black spider in it. She stuck it out in front of me, and I grabbed it with exactly 1 finger. I dropped it. There was no way. I took a deep breath. I picked up the bag and started walking towards the kitchen. Once Angela realized what I was doing, she screeched, "That's not fair! You can't do that! No one said anything about cooking it!" Well, the bet was for me to eat the spider. No one said I couldn't cook it. Fortunately, the other kids agreed with me. So I started heading towards the kitchen, thinking of all the ways I could camouflage this spider. Maybe if I rolled it she wouldn't let us in. Something about the camper's insurance and we're not allowed to cook. So, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I vowed. There was no way I could back out now. No way. But on the other hand, I was positive I couldn't eat that spider plain. But, wait a second. Then I remembered. My survival kit. The Hershey's bars were long gone, but I still had some peanut butter and crackers. I took out a cracker. I spread a thick layer of peanut butter over it. I opened the bag. Quickly, I squished the spider in between the crackers and peanut butter. I didn't even know if it was dead or not. I did not want to look. Okay. I stood there for exactly 5 minutes. Finally, I shoved it into my mouth. I tried to swallow it whole. No, it wasn't going down. Oh. Okay. It's just. Okay. Come on, go down. Oh, man. Okay. It's not that bad. If it really wasn't just peanut butter and crackers, I would have been perfectly fine. But there was a spider in there. Did I ever know there was a spider in there? It was all I could think about. Okay, just one more gulp. One more big old gulp. Okay, all right. Oh, it's almost down. Okay. Oh, it's going. Oh no. Oh, there's a leg. Okay, just one more big gulp. This thing has to go down. Okay, just one more. No, it's going down. Okay. Go down. Oh, it's almost there. Okay. I think I got it. I mean, it's not there anymore. Okay. I couldn't believe it. I did it. I ate that spider sandwich. It was gone in my throat, in my digestive system. Okay. I can't believe I did it. I ate that sandwich. Angela, she gave me her purple jacket, which was surprising because I didn't think I would get it, but I guess she just thought I was brave or something. Ever since today or tomorrow or the next day, years from now, I will never wear that jacket. Because every time I look at that jacket, all I can think about is spiders.
Next in the program is Sarah Peterson, but she's not able to be here yet. Hopefully she'll be here later, I think. But she's going to be delivering her informative speech. She got third at competition. Oh, this is her third year competing, sorry. She was at state competition the last 3 years in oration and extemp and informative. This year Sarah placed 5th in extemporaneous speaking at the 3A state championship. So next we're going to skip to senior Connor Pear. This is his, Connor qualified for 2 events for state this year, series solo, acting, and poetry. In poetry, Connor earned 10th place out of 47 competitors. Connor has been to state for the past 2 years. Last year, he and his partner, Becca Graham, took 6th place in duet acting. So here's Connor.
Growing up in a family when there's only 2 men in your entire family, you'll learn the importance of the mother figure. You realize that she's like a lighthouse, using her guiding light to guide you away from pain and strife. Yet, if you rub her the wrong way, she can make you crash into the rocks. In B by Sarah Kay, we delve into the mindset of a mother-to-be as she writes down everything she would do if she were to have a daughter. B by Sarah Kay. If I should have a daughter, instead of Mom, she's going to call me Point B. Because that way, she'll know that no matter what happens, at least she can find her way to me. And I'm going to paint the solar systems on the backs of her hands, so she has to learn the entire universe before she can say, well, I know that like the back of my hand. And she's going to learn that life will hit you hard, in the face, wait for you to get back up again just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they love the taste of air. There is hurt here that cannot be fixed by band-aids or poetry. So the first time she realizes that Wonder Woman isn't coming, I'll make sure that she does not have to wear that cape all by herself. Because no matter how wide you stretch your fingers, your hands will always be too small to catch all the pain you want to heal. Believe me, I've tried. And baby, I'll tell her, don't keep your nose up in the air like that. I know that trick, I've done it a million times. You're just smelling for smoke of a burning house, so you can find the boy who lost everything in the fire to see if you can save him. Or find the boy who lit the fire in the first place to see if you can change him. But I know she will anyway, so instead I always keep an extra supply of chocolates and rainbows nearby. Because there's no heartbreaks chocolate can't fix. Okay, there's a few heartbreaks chocolate can't fix, but that's what the rainbows are for. Because rain will wash away everything that you want. After all, that's the way my mom taught me. That there'll be days like this. There'll be days like this, my mama said. When you open your hands to catch, it wind up with only blisters and bruises. When you step out of the phone booth to fly, and the very people you want to save are the ones standing on your cape. When your boots will fill with rain, and you'll be up to your knees in disappointment. And those are the very days you have all the more reason to say, thank you. Because there is nothing more beautiful than the way the ocean refuses to stop kissing the shoreline, no matter how many times it's sent away. They'll put the wind and win some, lose some. You'll put the star in starting over and over. And no matter how many landmines erupt in a minute, be sure your mind lands on the beauty of this funny place called life. And yes, on a scale from 1 to over-trusting, I'm pretty damn naive. But I want her to know that this world is made out of sugar. It can crumble so easily. But don't be afraid to stick your tongue out and taste it. Baby, I'll tell her, remember that good things always come in threes. And so do bad things. And always apologize when you've done something wrong. But don't you ever apologize for the way your eyes refuse to stop shining. Your voice is small, but don't you ever stop singing. And when they finally hand you heartache, when they slip war and hatred under your door, and offer you handouts on street corners of cynicism and defeat, you tell them that they really ought to meet your mother. But what happens when the father is not in the picture? In Spelling Father by Marshall Davis Jones, a man has a dream in which he is asked to spell a simple word. The outcome may not be what you expect. Spelling Father by Marshall Davis Jones. Last night, I had the most interesting dream. In it, I was 6 years old at a national spelling bee. Genius, complex words, duodenum, serendipity, floxenosity hillipilification, up until the final round. One word between me and victory, the spellmaster clears his throat. Young man, your word is father. The crowd began to chatter amongst themselves, seemingly displeased at the simplicity of this final word. I search for those eyes that say, everything's going to be okay, just do it. I dazed off. Young man, your word is father. So, I stood up straight, licked my lips, and began. Father. M-O-T-H-E-R. Father. The spellmaster looked at me, down his card back up at me. Sorry, but you are incorrect. I don't understand. My father's sitting right there in the audience. Excuse me? I'm sorry, son, but you are incorrect. Well, then, you can say your sorry apologies. Because you must mean incorrect, as in within the parameters of being right. Let me explain something to you. Because obviously you ain't grown up when papas are rolling stones down the hills of women's backsides. And when he's gone, all he's left us was alone. Where minstrelmen strolled around on bikes, while fathers balanced their minstrel. 2 kids, 2 jobs, and a life on a unicycle. And it looked something kind of like this. Breastfeeding with one arm, phone on the shoulder, cooking with one arm, cleaning with one leg, tying sneakers with their teeth. Young fathers who make mistakes because we are not all perfect. But the one mistake they never make is abandoning their seeds. You see, fathers are master gardeners, tending to every leaf, removing the weeds, placing us up in the windows of opportunity so that we may lean out towards the sun and never forget that the sky is the limit. And they kisses on our cheeks, hugs on our backs, growing their love on us the best way they know how. Like my father. My father sacrificed owning nothing that I may have everything. My father walked a daily nightmare so that I may live out my dreams. And I hope that one day I can grow up to be as great as a father as she was for me. You did not ask me to spell deadbeat, sir, but if you want deadbeat, here it is. F-A-T-H-E-R, D-A-D, D-A-D-D-Y, P-O-P, P-O-P-S if you want the slang. You asked me to spell father. And father is, always has been, and always will be spelled M-O-T-H-E-R. So get your encyclopedia, show me your flashcards, open your dictionary, because what Webster says means nothing around here. Around here, my father is sitting right there. And I love her. Thank you.
Our fourth performance is a serious solo act given by sophomore Kaylin Robert. This is Kaylin's 2nd year in forensics and her 2nd year to attend state champs. Kaylin received 10th place in serious solo this year. Last year, Kaylin triple qualified for state champs in oration, serious solo, and improvised duet acting, better known as IDA. So here's Kaylin.
As the wife of author F. Scott Fitzgerald, one might expect a life of luxury, glamour, and indulgence. But schizophrenia is about all Zelda Fitzgerald got. Living a lost and lonely life, she is sick and tired of the rules that she has to follow. And the voices that she hears, she doesn't know if they're real or if they're in her mind. This is Zelda by William Luce. Can you tell me why in the hell I should have to spend the rest of my life in this place? I am sick to death of the repressive atmosphere of sanitariums. It seems as though I've been tidying up my room for years and not making noise in the hallways. I've climbed enough stairs to get to heaven. I just want to get as far away from Asheville, North Carolina as I can. Besides, I've got a mission beyond these walls. A divine mission. I've got to tell people about God and the end of the world and dying. But Dr. Carroll won't permit me to talk about religion. You want to know something else? Nobody's ever sent me a get well card. Not even a, sorry you've gone crazy, Zelda. Even that would do, but not a word. Oh, Lord, it's ghastly losing your sanity and not being able to reason. I don't expect y'all normal people to feel bad for us crazy ones. Your conceptions of tragedy don't exactly coincide with our realities. Oh, Lord, the dark, stark places, the terror of the mind straying. Everywhere I turn is a cul-de-sac. I'm frightened. I am. Nothing is right. Not even my awareness of concrete things like this chair or how crazy I am or what you look like. As a matter of fact, your face looks tiny and far away, and your arms were long and out of proportion. Where in the hell is Nurse Holtzhausen? Now I wish she looked tiny and far away. She checks my room every 5 minutes to make sure I haven't strangled myself yet. I'm really rather angry that they won't just let me be insane. I wish that they'd accept me without the feeling of having to acquit me. And I can't dance. They won't let me. And talk about therapy. That could really help me. But Dr. Carroll says it's part of my problem. And his damned feudal formulas. Just because Scott went and blabbed to him about Paris and how I made myself sick by going to dance class 8 hours a day. Scott couldn't realize that dancing was the refuge from our chaos in our lives. Scott's refuge was the bottle. I guess there's nothing so indicative of civilization as the solaces people seek. But I do hate the Teutonic sophistries of psychiatry. By the time I get out of here, if I ever do, my legs will probably be so flabby I won't even be able to walk. Although, on my last visit to Mama's, I did start taking lessons again. But I got in a quarrel with the teacher, Amelia Lilligard. I told her that I could not do steps that fit neither the period nor the spirit of the music. So I gave her some Schubert waltzes, hoping she'd choreograph them, but she apparently has impaired hearing. In fact, I told her so, and she said that I was a cow. So I said that she was a cow, and she said that she couldn't be a cow if she tried. And I said, a cow doesn't have to try to be a cow, it just is one. Mama? Oh, Mom, look, it's an engagement ring. It's from Scott. Isn't it beautiful? Mama, I'm practically 19. Rosalind, where's that card from Scott? I'll thank you not to go snooping through my mail anymore. Now, Mama, you listen. Scott? 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 Oh, Mama, isn't it pretty? No, Mama, I want it to drop off the shoulder like this, see? It will too, stay up. Well, Jane Massey's flatter than an old pancake, and her wedding dress stayed up. Fine, I'll wear my gray suit to be married in. Confederate gray. I may even bob my hair. I'll probably look like hell. Mom and Daddy didn't come see me get married. In fact, they were kind of happy that the wedding was in New York, Scott being Irish Catholic and all. They didn't think a Catholic wedding would go over well in our hometown. Besides, Daddy didn't like Scott. He said he was a drinker, a Princeton dropout, and a Yankee. But my daddy looked so handsome there on the train telling me goodbye. I thought I might cry. Goodbye, Daddy. Goodbye. Poor Mama. She calls Dr. Carroll every day to see if I've stopped being schizophrenic yet. But guess what, Mama? It doesn't work that way. Say, did you guys ever read my husband's first novel? Nobody seems to remember it, but I do. My fairy tale began with its publication. This Side of Paradise. All of a sudden it was gold leaf kings and champagne sunshine and velvet nights. Francis Scott Fitzgerald. And Miss Alabama Nobody. I was like the little fish that swims around under the shark living indelicately off its refuse. That's the way it was. Life just passed over me like a vast black shadow, and I soaked up with relish everything that it dropped. And I loved Scott. I still love Scott. Without him, everything is pale and pathetic. We first met 1 month after my high school graduation. He was a lieutenant in the 67th Infantry. I saw him at the edge of the dance floor, watching me dance with Mr. Tommy Lee Culpepper. Oh, I remember every soft spot of light that ever gouged a shadow on his patrician bones. He was beautiful in a way that men are not meant to be, with violet eyes, dark lashes, a straight nose, and a sensitive mouth. His hair was green gold under the soft light. Masculine beauty I'd never seen before. And he was slightly, but ecstatically, intoxicated. Excuse me, Tommy Lee. And I remember I felt bodiless, like a phantom as I moved into his waiting arms without any introduction, a kind of tender, inevitable gravity pulling me in and holding me there. I believe there was some kind of secret, heavenly support between his shoulder blades that just lifted his feet off the ground. I thought that he had the ability to fly, but he was just dancing as a compromise with convention. And I felt so happy there. My face on his neck between his ear and his stiff, pure army collar. So clean and handsome. The golden god. We had it all, Scott. Paradise. And we threw it away. Where am I? Miss, can you tell me where I'm at? Oh, this isn't Ellerslie. But where the hell am I? Zelda, you're running out of time. Miss, is this Wilmington? This is Wilmington. Oh, hell. I used to hear voices every once in a while, but now I hear them all the time. Sometimes it's my family calling out for me through the walls or up the drain pipes. Help, they call. I can't help them. I know the voices are inside my head. You think I don't know that? Don't tell me something I already know. But I had a dream. Scott was calling out to me, Zelda, don't be insane. Zelda, stop it. I'm trying. Nobody, not even the poets, can measure how much a heart can hold. But love dies in public institution. Goodbye, Scott. My beautiful Scott. I loved you so.
Sarah is here to do her piece now, and since I already gave her introduction, I'll just go ahead and let her do it.
Alright, is everybody ready? Before we begin, I'd like to give you a small warning. This speech could get a little deadly. Now I want all of you to take a deep breath. Hold it. Hold it. Do not move. Do not even quiver, or you can miss. And this shot means everything. Now, anyone who's handled a sniper rifle knows this fact pretty well. But there are two stories that truly exemplify it. They are the stories of a man named Vasily Zaitsek and Simo Hayhawk. In fact, these two men were so good at what they did, they became known as some of the deadliest shots in history. We'll start with Vasily Zaitsek. He was a member of the Russian Red Army during World War II when the Russians were fighting the Nazis. But Vasily grew up a simple man, a hunter, able to kill an animal with a single bullet. When it came time to shift those skills to combat, Vasily had no trouble at all. Once his commanding officer pointed him towards a window 800 yards away. That's the length of 8 football fields. In that window stood a Nazi commanding officer. Vasily killed that man in a matter of seconds. In fact, when that Nazi commanding officer's 2 comrades ran over to see what had happened to him, Vasily killed them both as well. No trouble. The most impressive fact about Vasily Zaitsek is that he holds the most confirmed kills for any Russian sniper, at 225 confirmed kills. Not only that, but he was the first Russian to really excel at sniping, and his skills inspired a lot of future Russian military members to want to follow in his footsteps. In fact, Vasily was so detrimental to the Nazi army that they actually sent in a counter-sniper, an assassin named Erwin Koenig, to kill him. Erwin Koenig was the best sniper for the Nazi army, and they even gave him the nickname Super Sniper. Now, Erwin thought he had the upper hand as he attempted to try and find Vasily in the woods, but little did he know that Vasily had already been following him for over a week. Vasily was simply waiting for a clear shot on Erwin, which would be tricking him out into the open. So Vasily lay down low under the bushes. He took his stick and raised his hat up above the foliage. Erwin saw the hat and took the bait. He aimed, shot. There was a ping as the bullet hit the helmet, and the helmet dropped. Erwin raised his head to see if he had hit his mark, and that is when Vasily struck, ending Erwin Koenig once and for all. Now, with his 225 confirmed kills, Vasily was obviously very helpful to the Russians against the Nazis. However, in one battle he was blinded by a mortar strike and had to withdraw from combat. During the time that his eyes were healing, he actually became a teacher for those students that wanted to follow in his footsteps. And his teaching was so good that his students were credited with 6,000 kills during World War II. Now, Vasily's story is very impressive, but there's a man who stands just a step above him. I'd like you all to imagine yourself as a member of the Russian Red Army. Only now, instead of fighting against the Nazis, you're fighting against the Finnish in the Winter War. You and your squadron have been told to go through the nearby woods and attack Finnish lines. It should be simple because your army is bigger and much more powerful. You should be able to crush them. But you've heard rumors about that forest. There's a man who lurks there, and before you've even had the chance to see him, he's killed and he's gone. The Russian Red Army called this man White Death because he plagued them. But we know him as Simo Heha, a simple Finnish man who grew up much like Vasily Zaitsev did, a hunter able to kill an animal with a single bullet, who decided it was time to shift his skills to combat and use them to help his country and his cause. Simo Heha has the most confirmed kills for any sniper in world history, at 500 confirmed kills. Even more impressive, he did this in a matter of 100 days. That's 5 kills a day. If you consider the fact that they were at a place and a time in the world where there is very little sunlight, you begin to realize that Simo Heha was very good at what he did. Not only that, but he managed to evade the Russians for 100 days. Even though they sent in counter snipers, artillery strikes, and even tried to smoke him out of the forest. So how did he stay so hidden? Simo had several tactics that allowed him to evade the Russians, the first being that he wore all-white camo. This not only gave him his nickname of White Death, but also helped him to stay camouflaged in the snow and the trees and on the ground. He even went so far as to eat the snow so that when he exhaled, his breath wouldn't give away his position. Additionally, his favorite gun was an M28 White Guard variant of a different German sniper rifle, and it used iron sights as opposed to telescopic sights. The advantages to using iron sights is the fact that telescopic sights have a tendency to fog up in the cold, rendering them useless, whereas iron sights don't fog up and they can be used consistently. Additionally, telescopic sights cause you to raise your head slightly higher, whereas iron sights allow you to stay low and stay hidden. Now, Simo Heha was obviously very detrimental to the Russian Red Army with his 500 confirmed kills. However, on one fateful day, a counter sniper found him hiding in a tree and shot him. When his fellow comrades came in to retrieve him, they said it looked as if half his face had been blown off, and Simo Heha was unconscious for a very long time. They were afraid that he would never wake up. However, he did regain consciousness on March 13th, the day that peace was called between the Russians and the Finnish, as if that isn't a movie ending within itself. Now, what both of these men have proven is that sniping isn't something you learn in a day. It takes a lifetime to become great at sniping, and it takes a lot of patience and practice. Snipers today often lay in wait for hours without much food, water, or even getting up to go to the bathroom. But they understand that that is what it takes to get that perfect shot. Thank you, and I'm glad you survived.
We would leave you laughing with our last performance before we take our intermission. Madison McKinsey, a junior and a second-year forensics competitor, received a first-place rating at the state festival for her performance in interpretation of prose. Last year, Madison and Stephanie competed in IDA at the state level.
Growing up in an animal-loving household, it wouldn't have been outrageous for my family to have more than 4 cats at a time. So I know how crazy those creatures can get. But regardless, I don't think I would have expected one of my cats to claim to be the reincarnation of Albert Einstein like the cat in this piece. This is Mr. Whiskers by David the Master. So, I'm sitting on my sofa watching TV when my cat jumps into my lap and looks up at me with his giant green eyes and says, "Listen, you and I have got to cut a deal." My cat just talked to me. I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper, so I half swallow, half spit in exasperation, and I'm suddenly choking, gasping for breath. I stand up and cough liquid from my lungs, and the cat, Mr. Whiskers, gets dumped onto the floor. And then he calls me a really dirty name. Strange feeling to be cursed at by your cat. So I'm standing there in my apartment with half a soda down my windpipe and a foul-mouthed feline saying things you wouldn't even hear on HBO. And all I can say in response is, Mr. Whiskers? Did you just speak? Mr. Whiskers looks at me like I'm from another planet. I ask him again and he just meows. So that's when I'm thinking that maybe it's a dream, you know. I'm sitting on the couch, I'm lulled to sleep by bad programming. Have you watched television lately? The new shows really stink. I think I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper, but what's really happening is I have sleep apnea or something, you know, that disease where you wake yourself up choking, gasping for breath? Yeah, I've got that. I write myself a note to call my doctor in the morning, and then I sit back down and rearrange myself. Mr. Whiskers jumps into my lap and says, "Of course I was talking to you, obsequious fuck!" I start coughing again and I realize, I don't even know what an obsequious fop is. Dumber than my cat. Mr. Whiskers is not an attractive cat. You see talking cats on TV or in the movies and they're always pretty with tabby markings and bold, vibrant colors. Mr. Whiskers' colors are harsh and irritating. When I got him, I bathed him and brushed him and tried to make him look pretty. But he's just so butt ugly that it makes me want to cry. So that's why it shocks me when he says it, like it's just a fact of life. I'm the reincarnation of Albert Einstein. I mean, if you died and God offered to send you back as a cat, you'd want to be a good-looking cat, wouldn't you? Not a mess like Mr. Whiskers. So what would you do? I mean, there are only so many possibilities here. Either A, I'm nuts, I think I'm talking to animals, and it's only a matter of time before they put me in the loony bin. Or B, my cat just talked to me and is currently waiting to see how I respond. Or C, I'm on one of those trick camera shows and someone's watching a video and laughing at me. I opt for B, but when I go to the bathroom, I search for hidden cameras. I make an appointment with my therapist the next day. How long has the cat talked? The therapist asks. Just a couple of days, Dr. Smith. All I want to find out is why my cat talks. She tells me that Mr. Whiskers isn't really talking and then gives me 6 prescriptions. My landlady, Mrs. Gerlin, lives down the street from me and has 15 cats. As I walk by her one morning, I ask her if any of her cats have ever talked to her. I beg your pardon, she asks. Never mind, I say. I keep walking. When I get to my apartment, I plan my getaway. Easiest way out is to give Mr. Whiskers to Mrs. Gerlin. I plan my speech to Mr. Whiskers by telling him about how she has multiple cats who might find a girlfriend. I'll visit whenever he's lonely. How he shouldn't worry, I'm just down the street. Except, when I get home, Mr. Whiskers isn't there. My mother and father's photos have been taken from the frames. Someone strut a mustache on my father's lip. Underneath is a riddle. What does a mouse wear when he wants a disguise? A moustache. And he's gone. I look beneath the bed and behind the dresser. I look for holes in the walls. I look in the closet in the utility room. I find nothing but a half-open window far too narrow for Mr. Whiskers to fit in. I run down the street and knock on Mrs. Gerlin's door. I'm crying. I don't even realize it's about to happen until tears are streaming down my face and I fight to breathe. I don't find Mr. Whiskers that night. And I don't see him the next night either. I'll bring him to you, I say to Mrs. Gerland, as soon as he comes back. I put an ad in the paper, but nobody answers. Eventually, I forget about Mr. Whiskers. One day as I drive up to my apartment, I see an old man sitting in the front. He has thick, unbrushed, white hair and a walrus mustache. He wears a rumpled suit and a fraying tie, and when he sees me, he leaps up to his feet and smiles. "I told you," he shouts. He opens his arms wide in a gesture of embrace. I panic and dig my way through my bag for a can of mace. "Do I know you?" "Do I know you?" He laughs and wags his forefinger in the air. Then, without another word, he draws me close and kisses me on the cheek before walking off into the violet air of the evening.